I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time now for the simple fact that I need to set the record straight about hostels. A lot of people who I share my travel experiences with here at home, I feel like have a preconceived notion of what hostels are like. In fact, when I tell people that I've stayed at hostels or that I'm going to stay at hostels, I feel like they just lose their mind. Like I'm gonna get kidnapped and chopped up into little pieces or take part of some huge orgy party, which is not the case, at least not yet. So here's the inside scoop on hostels. I was introduced to hostels back in 2016 on a trip to Brazil with my cousin. I was kind of new to the whole traveling thing at the time. I probably had a couple of trips under my belt. My cousin was the more seasoned traveler, so I was kind of following his lead on this one. He had booked a couple of hostels for us at the time. We actually didn't spend a lot of time at the hostel. We were coming back in so late and getting up so early to start our day that we were literally going to the hostel to wash up, lay our heads down for 5-6 hours, and we were back on our feet. So I can't really comment on the actual hostel experience, but what really stood out to me was that it made so much sense not to book a traditional hotel and spend so much more money when all we literally needed was a place to wash up and lay our heads down at night. My first real hostel experience probably happened in Colombia. So we took a guy's trip to Colombia. It was a quick trip, about 6 days or so, and booked hostels for our entire stay there. And it was just the absolute greatest vibes. So let me tell you why. You get this vibe at hostels that you just simply cannot get in traditional hotels. Hostels simply have a very communal culture. You share everything from the bedrooms, bathrooms, a kitchen, bar, dining area, so on and so forth. So what does that mean? It means that people are there to interact. People are there to meet other people. That's why you stay at hostels. Not only are you meeting other people, but you're meeting people from all over the world and from all different walks of life. You have to be open-minded and be willing to converse with people. Now, ever since then, I pretty much try to book hostels on every trip that I take, depending on the kind of trip that I'm taking. Hostels aren't the most family-friendly environments, so if I'm traveling with the family, I typically try to book a traditional hotel. But if I'm traveling by myself or with the wife or friends, hostels are my first choice. Now, if sharing a room with a bunch of strangers is the issue, which I completely understand, I do want to say that a lot of hostels offer private rooms, which I have personally taken advantage of on a few occasions. Most of the time when I'm traveling with my wife, we'll book a private room. We've also been able to do that as a group before. For example, a lot of hostels will offer different size dorms. So if you're traveling with a group of 4 and they have a 4-bedroom dorm, you can book 4 beds in the 4-bedroom dorm and you have the entire room to yourself. We did that once in Colombia and we did it again in Mexico, so it worked out great. So just know that you can opt for a private room and still enjoy the benefits of the hostel. The other benefit, aside from meeting people from all over the world and having a good old time, is the financial benefit. In my experience, the average price for a hostel has been about $10 a night. That number can vary. It can be higher or lower depending on which part of the world you're in, the status of the hostel, the type of room, etc. But on average, $10 will get you a place to stay. Not only that, but most hostels, or at least the ones I've been staying at, have communal kitchens. You'll see a lot of people using the community kitchen at hostels to prepare their meals throughout the day. Preparing your own meals whenever you're traveling is going to be cheaper than going out to eat for, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. On top of that, a lot of hostels will offer a free breakfast with your stay. Know what kind of trip you're taking to find the right type of hostel for you. A hostel that'll fit your needs. For example, some hostels pride themselves in being party hostels. So if you want to stay at a hostel to meet some people, spark up a few good conversations, have a couple of drinks, but still want to get to bed at a reasonable time, party hostels are probably not what you want. Now, if you're traveling with your buddies and just want to get crazy stupid, party hostels are probably what you want. Another really cool things that hostels offer are group activities. So a lot of hostels will offer things like yoga classes, walking tours, dancing classes, language classes, bar crawls, etc. So again, just a very interactive stay. Now, I personally never had a bad experience at hostels, but I have heard a few. There's certain things that all the prior planning that you do just cannot save you from. Sometimes it's simply luck. For example, the last hostel that we stayed at on a recent trip to Mexico, some of the guys that we had met there were telling us that one of the guests who was sharing their dorm room smelled like that could suck. Hostels have honestly changed the way that I travel. I mean, there's really nothing like being in a foreign country and meeting a bunch of strangers from different parts of the world, hanging out together and knowing that you may not see each other again. I think there's something really special about that. To be honest, a lot of interesting things can happen under those circumstances. One of the hostels we stayed at in Colombia, which I think was called Republica, we got there at a very interesting time. There was some kind of political election that just happened, and they had cut off alcohol for that entire weekend. So we were a little bummed, and we were like, it's all going downhill from here. But we had met a group of people that night and ended up throwing our own little party on the rooftop, and it was such a memorable experience. We stay in touch through Instagram and things like that, but for the most part, we've never seen each other again. And I think that's part of the magic is, you know, you couldn't do it again if you wanted to. Even if you stayed at the exact same place and went with the exact same group, there's no telling who's gonna be staying there at that time and what the energy is gonna be like. It's all timing. It's having the right people at the right place at the right time, really. On a recent trip to Mexico, we stayed at a place called Bonobo Surf House in Puerto Escondido. And again, just super chill vibes. Everybody was really friendly when we got there. And what was really cool is that at night, we would kind of all go out as a hostel. The people who worked there would radio 5-6 cabs. 5-6 cabs would pull up, and we would all go there together along with the people who worked at that hostel. So, you know, you kind of build this little bond, this little family. So if you find what I've talked about in this video just a little bit interesting, I highly encourage you to look into staying at a hostel for your next trip. I think that you'll be decently surprised and that you'll enjoy it quite a bit. Could change your life. Please don't forget to subscribe. I could really use the support. Thank you so much. Until next time, guys, this is Cedric. I'm signing out. Peace. Yeah!